Hi guys, welcome to my TED Talk. So Imperator just came out, and I was going to play a little bit of the tutorial first and then maybe stream the game, but I was just stunned by how much there's wrong with the UI and user experience, even compared to like previous Paradox games, so I figured I just had to make a video about it and list everything that I came across in like half an hour of playing the tutorial. So, before we even get into the game, the settings menu, first of all, what is up with these sliders? You can click on them, but that doesn't do anything. So you have to drag, and even when dragging, it doesn't update these labels. Like, these are like straight from the mid-90s or something. Those are both things that you should be able to do with your sliders, like, by default. Like, that's just the start of a whole lot of problems. So, let's say we change our settings here, increase the audio a bit, and well, we've got the save and restore buttons down here, but usually I would just close it after this, right? And of course, closing it doesn't save your settings. It doesn't give you any prompt about not having saved your settings, so you can go through everything here, change everything the way you like, and you figure you're done, you close it, and it will revert everything with no prompts whatsoever. So that's terrible. So if we go to load a game, we can see that double-clicking these, right-clicking these, left-clicking these, nothing does anything. You have to click on one of these and click load. Like, being able to double-click a save to load it, again, this is so basic UI design. Why would you force me to do that? That's just... I don't understand. Now, once we get into the game, let me just pull up my notes. So, well, the first thing the tutorial asked me to do, well, after stabilizing, which clicking on the stability doesn't take you to the screen where you increase stability, because why would it? Why would clicking any of these do anything? No, right-clicking, left-clicking, any of these resources does nothing, which is just like, it's such a waste. You could easily have clicking stability take you to the religion screen where you actually increase your stability, but no. So, after that, the game asks you to do a few other things, including importing fish to your province. So, let's take a province where I haven't done that yet. We need to open a trade route, and we select fish here, and we can see that it's coming from all of these provinces. But maybe I don't want to import it from somewhere where I might be going to war against soon, or people I don't like. So, right-clicking these does nothing. Left-clicking these instantly sets up the trade route with no prompting whatsoever. So there's no way to see without just zooming way out on the map and potentially losing the UI you were in. Actually, even this doesn't highlight the provinces, so there's no way to see what province this stuff is coming from. What you have to do, if you want to have any idea who it's from, you have to click, again, you can't right-click these to center on them, you have to left-click to actually open the country tab for the country. And of course that closes your trade route scene, so you figure, okay, those cars are there, I have to remember the province names, and I have to go back and go through like 3 or 4 clicks to get to this menu, and then set up the trade route. And again, there's no prompt there whatsoever. So that's just... why is there no zoom feature? There's also, from the province screen, there's no way to zoom into individual cities. There's no way to zoom into the location of a character from the character screen, as far as I can tell. Like, we can see that this guy's in Capio, and she's in Roma, but there's no way for me to locate those provinces from here either. So... basically, you can't zoom in from anywhere that you might think you'd want to zoom in from. Also, same thing if we were to be fabricating claims on a province. Here we have these zoom to buttons, but again, like other Paradox games would just let you right-click this to zoom in, and it makes a sound. A lot of these things make a sound, but they don't actually do anything. It's like you've hooked up the right-click, but you just didn't bother hooking up the zoom function to it. It's bizarre. Right, so after that, building buildings. Game tells you to build a bunch of training camps. Okay. So here we have a macro builder that's like, this is probably, I don't quite remember how EU4 was in 1.1, but I think even then you had more information than you do here. So if I click on one of these, sure, I can see what the building does, but all of these cities will have different different benefits from it, since they're going to have different base tax levels and whatnot. So I can't see what the effect will be. I can't see how many open building slots I have in these cities, and I have to go just clicking through all of them here. There's no way to pull up a list like in EU4. EU4 lets you pull up a nice list of provinces that's sorted by the effect, so you can build them in the most effective provinces first. There's nothing here. Like, why would you not learn from your other games? This is a consistent theme when Paradox does things. They don't share between their games to like a ridiculous extent, which is, it just makes all of their games worse. And this is a prime example of that. Most of these things have been solved one way or another in their other games. Another place where clicking does nothing, if we take this army and we split it in half so we get one that doesn't have a commander yet. You have a change commander button here, but why when there's no commander selected? I can click this, either right or left mouse button, but it doesn't do anything. Like, why would this not open the commander selection? Why do I have to click this button when there's no commander? It just doesn't make any sense. And speaking of armies, if we combine this, we have, if we go to the actual army screen and we look at the attrition, we can see that this is taking 7% attrition, although it just listed as 7 instead of 7% because, I don't know, surely it should list the percentage because that would be far more accurate or more indicative of what it's actually doing. It's also not like listed in red or anything, but the actual attrition tooltip here doesn't list the number, which is fine here because you can see the number there. But if you hover over the unit here, it's using the same tooltip, so you can see you have to look at both the attrition before modifiers and the maximum instead of, you know, what you would expect when you're hovering over the attrition symbol, actually seeing the attrition. It's why would you do this? And of course, none of those are highlighted in red or anything. Like, there's no color coding whatsoever, which surely would be useful as well. So we're finishing off this war here. We've got this war going. It's got one participant. So again, based on other games, you'd think that right-clicking this would let you open negotiations with the war leader. Nope, does absolutely nothing. Again, it makes a clicking sound, so clearly, you know, the action's there, it's just not been hooked up to anything. You have to left click and go through here and go through the Sue piece. Like that, again, that's 3 clicks where 1 would suffice in EU4. Let's just fully annex these guys. And we get this lovely pop-up. This peace offer will increase your ranked regional power. Are you sure? Regional power is highlighted, but you can't click it. There's no like question mark info box, there's no description, there's like no indication whatsoever of what this actually means. Where you could easily have a text here saying what the actual effects would be. It's just, why would you throw this at the player without explaining whatsoever? Anyway, once we click through this, yeah, we get some events that we're not going to bother with right now. And now we get like a listing of what it actually did for us. Except this listing is still incomplete. It doesn't list the fact that we can no longer make... Just we can have alliances, but it doesn't tell us that we can only have alliances with other regional powers. We can't have alliances with local powers anymore, for example. So, yeah. There's that. That's all the big ones. There's another few... Well, actually, this is pretty big. There is no automatic naval transport whatsoever. Like, the lead designer of this game called automatic naval transport the best thing they ever added to EU4, and it's not present here. In EU4, you could just choose these guys, assuming you had naval access here, right-click this, it would move them to the nearest port, take the fleet, split these guys up, move them over in chunks, fitting the fleet size. None of that here. You have to bring them to the province, then you have to split them manually, because there's no attach to boat button, and you can't just... You have to move the boats out into the sea, and then You can only move in exactly the amount that can fit in the boats, no more. You can't automatically leave men behind, so that's going to be absolutely terrible for trying to micro in multiplayer. And then you have to repeat that over and over to bring your entire army across, of course, if you don't have enough boats to do it all in one go. So, yeah, that's just... I don't even know. Why would you do this? Unless you, like, totally ran out of development time. But why would you not put that in the first place? You have the code in EU4. It surely can't be that hard to port it over. I don't understand. Other little nitpicks. For some reason the game's showing province ID in political map mode, not in the other map modes, even though I'm not in debug mode, which seems weird. Unit recruitment, these tooltips are pretty terrible. Like, first of all, there's no, like, short description of the unit. Like, these are light archers, they're good against light infantry, but very vulnerable to damage, or something like that. The name of the unit isn't in any way separated from the text. This text should really be separated into like 3 parts. One for the name, one for like the special abilities and maybe the movement speed and maneuver, and then one for the actual damage modifiers and whatnot. It's just like this. The legibility of this is very, very poor when you're just looking at a bunch of different units. And last thing is that this temporary modifiers thing, first of all, it says this province currently has no special modifiers applied, as if these were province-based. But provinces in this game, unlike other games, are these large areas, and the small areas are cities. And first, also it says temporary modifiers. Here we have a modifier, but it's not affecting the province, it's affecting the city only. And all the modifiers I could find were city-specific, not province-specific. So it's lying there. And also, these aren't temporary modifiers. A lot of these are until end of game, so why would you say temporary instead of, city modifiers? And that's just the stuff that stuck out at me in the first half an hour of playing. I'm sure I'll run into many more, but I just had to get this off my chest, because it feels like this game had... If it had someone that was actually dedicated UX design, I would not hire them to do UX design for anything, because this is a big failure in my book. If I can find this many flaws in the first half an hour. But, yeah. Maybe some devs will actually look at this and fix some of this stuff. There's always hope, right? At least Paradox do keep updating the games, even if that often just breaks them further. Anyway, thanks for attending my TED Talk. I've gotten the ranting done now, so cheers.